All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a huge step forward in the new space race. This is a look at a really critical test of the rocket and spacecraft that China is planning to use to put its astronauts on the moon.
And listen, they are not wasting any time. Their official goal is to land a crew on the moon before 2030. Now, that is a super ambitious deadline, right? And it's why every single test, like the one we're about to break down, is just so incredibly important.
So how do you get to the moon? Well, you need some seriously powerful new hardware. Let's meet the new rocket and spacecraft that are really at the heart of this whole mission.
Okay, so here are the two main players. You've got the Long March 10, that's the big, heavy-lift carrier rocket, the workhorse for the journey. And then you have the Mengzhou spacecraft, which, by the way, means dream vessel. Pretty cool, right? That's the ship that's actually going to carry the astronauts. And this test, it was the very first time they ever flew together.
But here's where it gets really interesting. They didn't just do a standard, run-of-the-mill launch from a pad. Nope, this was something different.
The whole thing happened out at sea. They launched from this specialized platform just off the coast of the Wenchang spacecraft launch site. I mean, just think about the logistics of that. It's not just cool to look at, it's an incredibly complex way to get a rocket into the air.
So, February 11th was the big day, and it worked. Everything came together. The China Manned Space Agency called it a complete success, a major breakthrough for their entire crewed lunar program.
But, this wasn't just about getting a rocket off the ground. The real reason for this test, the most critical part, was to see if a key safety system would work during the absolute most dangerous moment of a flight.
It's the question every space program has to face, right? What happens if things go horribly wrong right after liftoff? How do you save the crew? Well, this test was all about answering that one terrifying question.
Okay, so there's this moment in every launch called max Q. Think of it like this. The rocket's going incredibly fast, but it's still punching through the thickest part of the atmosphere. That combination of speed and air pressure puts the most intense physical stress on the entire vehicle. It's the one point where if there's a weak spot, it's going to fail.
And this is a perfect illustration of what they did. They basically programmed the rocket to pretend to fail right at that exact moment at max Q. So instead of a normal launch, the abort system kicked in, firing its own motors to blast the Mengzhou capsule away from the failing rocket. Just whoosh, gone. And guess what? It worked perfectly. The spacecraft got the signal from the rocket and performed the abort maneuver flawlessly, yanking itself to safety. It was a picture-perfect test of the escape system.
Okay, so getting away from the rocket is one thing, but that's only half the story, right? You still have to bring the capsule and its future crew back to Earth safely. So let's see how that part went.
After flying to a safe distance, the Mengzhou capsule popped its parachutes and came down for a nice, gentle, controlled splashdown right in a pre-planned area of the sea.
The recovery teams were right there, ready and waiting, pulling the capsule out of the water. And hey, even the rocket's first stage splashed down right where it was supposed to. So check, and check, all the mission objectives were complete.
Now check this out, because this is all about the future. This hardware wasn't designed to be just thrown away. From the very beginning, both the rocket and the spacecraft were built with reusability in mind. You can even see some features here, like these folded control fins to help guide the rocket's return and special hangars to help it connect with the recovery barge. This is all about making spaceflight more sustainable and ultimately more affordable.
So when you step back and really look at it, this single test was just packed with firsts for China's space program. It was the very first flight of the Long March 10, the first time they'd ever tested an abort at max Q, the first time they'd done a maritime splashdown and recovery like this, and the first launch from this new sea platform. That's a whole lot of progress in a single day, a truly massive leap forward.
In a successful test like this, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum. This is a huge statement. It firmly places another major player on the path back to the lunar surface. Which, of course, leaves us with the big question. With this critical safety system now proven, China is one giant leap closer to its goal. So, what comes next? What does this new international race to the moon look like now?